Expect more right now. You're watching Wave 3 News.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us on Wave 3 Sunrise. I'm Catherine Kington.
I'm John Ball. Straight ahead here on Sunrise. A police escort to the hospital this morning for an LMPD officer who crashed on duty.
And new information this morning in the doping accusations against Peyton Manning.
Julian's back on the mall chaos story because there's still a lot of unanswered questions this morning.
And take a look right here. You see this lane, the police car is there with the flashing lights. That is Phillips Lane. It's down to one lane because of a sinkhole. You'll have more of that on traffic. But look at the radar. Finally, after all this rain, Christy, some of that is going to let up.
It is. And as we were taking a look at that radar that was in the box there right beside me, you saw some of that green showing up. That's the river flood warning that we're still dealing with.
It appears much of the Ville is off this week between Christmas and New Year's because there wasn't much traffic going on at all. And again, same story this morning. We'll keep tabs on it, though. And we want to get right to our first story here. Breaking overnight, an LMPD officer is recovering at U of L Hospital after he was injured in a car crash at Rangeland and Poplar Level Road while on duty. Officials say a 6th Division officer was driving around 1:30 this morning on Rangeland Road when for some reason he lost control of the cruiser, veered off the road and hit a utility pole. The officer received a police escort to the hospital where he was treated for minor injuries. The LMPD traffic unit's investigating and nobody else was injured. Well, this morning we're continuing to press for answers after reports of disturbances and fights at Mall St. Matthews forced the mall to shut down 2 hours early Saturday night.
Wave 3's Julian Glover continues our coverage from the newsroom. Julian, you have an update from police.
Yeah, Catherine, the St. Matthews police spokesman Dennis McDonald is now backing down from those original estimates of 1,000 to 2,000 teens rioting through the mall that had so many of us scratching our head. Now, this is a quote that was in the Courier-Journal. It reads, "Certainly, we've said between 1,000 and 2,000, and that's based on many different groups of officers' witness." It goes on to say some of those may have run together. Now, in another part of the story, McDonald is quoted as saying the claim of 2,000 teenagers was, quote, "obviously a guess." So what prompted the stampede of teens? Police say they were responding to calls about fights and disturbances inside the mall. Our management saw a video of one such fight that night, though the witness would not let us air that video. As for nearby businesses, with little to no confirmation released by law enforcement, they aren't easy.
Business owners are a little confused, again, because they don't know what necessarily created or caused this particular situation. They're a little nervous, as any business owner would be.
Okay, so a recap of what we do know so far. Let's break this down for you. So far, no arrests have been made. There has been no confirmation of shots fired as heard over the police scanners on Saturday night. Also, no reports of any looting and no damage and also no injury. So when will we get some answers? We're expecting a joint press conference on Wednesday morning from mall management and St. Matthews Police to clear up all of these unanswered questions. Of course, Wave 3 News will stay on top of this story. John, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks for the update, Julian. 6:03 now. New on Sunrise. Police identified 2 men accused of armed robberies early yesterday morning.
The robberies happened at the Circle K on Shepherdsville Road and the 5-Star on Fern Valley Road. Police say 18-year-old Cameron Mason and 20-year-old Joseph Colvin showed guns to the store clerks and demanded cash. They were caught and arrested in the Fern Valley area, but police are still searching for another man who ditched a stolen red Corolla in Newburgh. Anyone with information is asked to call police.
Officials have released the names of the Kentucky family that drowned in Illinois this weekend as they were traveling to Minnesota to see family. Adam Schutt, his wife Erin, and children Logan, Robin, and Chad, ages 10 to 14, all died when they tried to drive through high water and their car got pulled into a creek in southern Illinois.
Just wondering why and a bunch of what ifs and questions that I can't answer and nobody can answer but the Lord. And he's took them to a better place.
The coroner says when the first responders arrived, the family was still alive, still right there. But just minutes later, the car moved further downstream and it got pulled under.
Happening today, a special election in Oldham County will determine whether to expand alcohol sales. Supporters say it provides a better opportunity for businesses. Opponents question whether it's the only way the county can grow economically and whether more alcohol would come at a moral cost. Voters made Oldham County moist, allowing sales by the drink in 2004.
Construction's now underway for several new businesses on Dixie Highway. A new Zaxby's will sit directly in front of a new Super Kroger. The big marketplace store will be nearly 125,000 feet, and they claim it'll be the first of its kind in Louisville. A little further south, the former Toys R Us building is under construction. No word yet what's going to go there. As for the lot sitting in front of it, Chick-fil-A is making rapid progress, and just a few doors down, Panera Bread has broken ground.
We're just so excited that we're finally getting new places here on Dixie, because for years and years, this part of the town has always had the bad stigma of us being the blighted area.
This is all in addition to the $16.9 million grant being used to transform Dixie Highway.
Well, Republicans are even closer this morning to winning back the House for the first time since 1920. Representative Jim Gooch announced he switched from the Democratic Party to the GOP yesterday, saying he didn't have a problem with being in the same party as President Obama, but he had a problem with being in a party that supported the president's radical agenda, including environmental regulations and a push for tighter gun control. Republicans now hold 48 seats, and that switch could help the governor get his budget request past the state legislature next month. It's expected to cover the state's increasing public pension debt and the expanding Medicaid population.
New on Sunrise, the Bardstown Bulletin reports Nelson County's dispatch board will handle its own finances going forward. The board had been put on notice last month that the city would stop providing financial services at the end of 2015. The city had been in charge of the dispatch center's finances since 2007.
I feel like I just want to wake up and just have my mom say, "Girl, that was a dream." But I can't. She's gone. She was murdered. And that's all that sits in my heart.
A mother of 5 shot dead by police at the door. Now NBC has an exclusive look inside the home as family members demand some answers.
Plus, protesters pour into the streets after a grand jury chooses to not indict the officers in Tamir Rice's death.
And the rain is out of here, but now that cooler weather is going to start returning. We're going to take a look and see how low those temperatures will go as we approach the end of 2015, coming up in your forecast. New Year's Day, I'll show you that in the 7 Day in 5 minutes.
All right, thanks, Christy. Well, Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel has cut his vacation to Cuba short after yet another violent incident involving his city's police force.
This time, police shot and killed 2 people in an apartment complex over the weekend, and then later admitted one of them was a mistake. NBC had exclusive access to the home of Betty Jones, a mother of 5, who had been asked by a man upstairs to go out and answer the door when police got there. When she did, police shot her seconds later right in the neck.
Well, I really didn't ever think I'd lose my mom to answering the front door.
My mom was so scared of my oldest son, that's 15, to get shot by the police officers. But who instead gets shot and killed? Her.
Now, police had been at the apartment building responding to a domestic disturbance on the floor above. A 19-year-old, Quintonio LeGrier, banging on the bedroom door with a baseball bat. He was also killed. His family said he had a mental illness. This morning, the mayor is calling for changes in the way police respond to these mental health cases.
These killing cops have got to go.
People poured into the rainy streets of Cleveland last night to protest announcements that no charges will be filed against the officer who killed 12-year-old Tamir Rice. The shooting happened outside a recreation center in November of 2014. Tamir was playing with a pellet gun when someone called the police, even admitting the gun might not be real, but dispatchers didn't pass that information along. Only after the shooting did officers learn it wasn't real.
It was actually very difficult to even communicate with Samaria Rice when she first learned of this news. She was so upset. She was so distraught. She was weeping as only a mother who has lost a child and then has been denied justice can weep. My heart was in my throat the entire time.
And they accused County Prosecutor Tim McGinty of presenting a one-sided case to the grand jury.
Indiana's battling a heroin epidemic, but now the Hoosier State's turning its attention to meth. Some police agencies say they back tougher cold medicine laws. A proposed law would require prescriptions for pseudoephedrine, which is used to make the illegal drug. Remember, this came up a few years ago. They tried it in Kentucky, didn't pass. Critics say the rule would clog up doctors' offices with people who aren't that sick in the first place. Indiana has one of the highest rates of meth lab busts in the country.
Well, the founder of Geyer Institute in Indianapolis says he is certain that the doping accusations against Peyton Manning are false. Dr. Dale Geyer says the unpaid intern who claimed the former Colt star used HGH in 2011 didn't work at the clinic until 2013. That man, Charles Sly, is now recanting his allegations, which aired in a report by Al Jazeera this weekend.
The statements on any recordings or communications that Al Jazeera plans to air are absolutely false and incorrect. To be clear, I am recanting any such statements, and there is no truth to any statement of mine that Al Jazeera plans to air.
Both the Colts and the Denver Broncos have issued statements in support of Manning. As for Al Jazeera, reporter Deborah Davies says she's standing by her story.
New details this morning about an alleged crop insurance scandal that's defrauded millions of dollars from the U.S. Department of Agriculture right here in Kentucky. Listen to this. Federal agents have seized almost $1 million from 2 banks in Mount Sterling, where the owner of several tobacco warehouses, Fred Wilson, had accounts. Authorities say Wilson was part of an elaborate scheme involving farmers and an insurance adjuster over several years, where the owners consistently underreported their tobacco production in order to cause an insurable loss payment, with some never even planting their crops. An anonymous caller tipped off the agents.
Also new, investigators are searching for a man they say is impersonating a sheriff's deputy. Take a listen.
This is Deputy James Marshall. If you please leave the name, number, and a brief message, I'll get back in touch with you as soon as I can.
He says this is Deputy James Marshall, but Franklin County Sheriff Pat Melton says there is no Deputy James Marshall, and whoever that man is on the voicemail, well, he's scamming people out of money by threatening to arrest them if they don't pay up. One man already lost $2,000 yesterday when the scammer told the victim to buy a rechargeable card and give him the card number. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office says it's been able to trace withdrawals from the scammer's account to South Dakota, and he's hit people all across Kentucky. 6:16 right now. Well, a man assaulted, robbed, and left naked in a gutter after ordering an Uber ride.
That's what one guy from Atlanta says happened to him, and now Uber's backing its driver and says the alleged victim never even set foot in the car. We'll tell you about that story coming up.
Plus, snow blankets parts of the Midwest, leading to thousands of canceled flights, but now the system is moving east. Well, the wild weather continues with snow finally arriving in the Midwest.
The weight of snow and ice made a gas station canopy collapse yesterday in Wisconsin. One car was destroyed by the fall. Another one was damaged, but luckily nobody got hurt. Another gas station canopy collapsed in Wisconsin later in the night. High winds were to blame.
In Chicago, more than 1,300 flights out of O'Hare were canceled yesterday thanks to the winter storm bearing down on the city. O'Hare led the nation in cancellations yesterday. In all, there were about 2,000 flights that were canceled nationwide and nearly 6,500 flights delayed. The winter storm warning for the Windy City ended several hours ago at midnight.
In Wave Country, we were dealing with a different kind of precipitation called water. Metro Public Works closed down Frankfort Avenue at River Road. Story because of the high water situation there again. Well, now the mess we just showed you to the west of us is supposed to be heading east, so let's check in with meteorologist Christy Dutton. Tracking the storms. Wow, it just feels weird out there. It got so warm last night. We're not looking for snow, are we?
No. Now after this check your forecast coming up.
A man tells police he was attacked and robbed by an Uber driver.
But now the company says there's no way the robbery could have happened because the driver never actually picked up the victim. Bo Cleary told Atlanta police the Uber driver and another passenger from the carpool service beat him, robbed him, and threw him down a drainage pipe Sunday. But an Uber spokesperson says the trip was canceled before it ever took place, and that GPS data proves that within minutes of the alleged attack, the driver had moved on to the next customer.
Whole Foods forced to pay $500,000 to settle a probe into overcharging customers. Whole Foods says it agreed to the settlement so it could put the investigation to rest. New York City accused the company of overcharging customers on some products like sliced fruits and sandwiches. Whole Foods says the mistakes were unintentional. Last year, the grocery chain paid nearly $800,000 to the cities of Los Angeles, Santa Monica, and San Diego after a state investigation discovered widespread pricing violations.
After nearly 140 Boston college students contracted norovirus after eating at a Chipotle there, Boston's chief health inspector had a highly publicized lunch break there. The commissioner said he wanted to eat there to show he has confidence in the city's inspectors and Chipotle. Inspectors say a sick employee was likely the cause of the outbreak, not the food. That Chipotle reopened Saturday after getting the green light from inspectors.
Well, do you choose diet sodas over regular ones to help watch your weight? A new study says that actually could lead to more unhealthy food choices than you realize. According to the report, people who drink a lot of diet drinks tend to eat more and load up on high-calorie foods like chips, cookies, and ice cream. Researchers say those wanting to eat healthy should consider what they drink in relation to overall eating habits.
Are you suggesting the diet soda and M&Ms I have up there in the set is really kind of a bad I just proved that study.
And now you can have a Fitbit to help that off, because that is one of the most popular holiday items. A huge New Year's resolution, always to get in shape.
Yeah, many choosing the Fitbit. Now, according to a study that was done, the activity tracker, they said that the free app was one of the top downloads in the U.S. on Christmas Day. While the downloads don't give a clear picture of the Fitbit sales, the surge suggests that many people are setting up their new devices. Company officials say it seems that Fitbit's maintaining its position as a popular option for customers looking to improve their fitness level through using an activity tracking device.
See, so your Diet Sunkist is canceled out by your 2 packs of M&Ms.
I know, I don't need a Fitbit. You know me, I'm going to be on the treadmill today.
All right.
A little watch telling me to do it.
Go jump in the Ohio River. Yeah. All right. 6:25 right now. Breaking overnight. The teen who claimed he had affluenza when he drove drunk and killed 4 people finally found after days on the run.
And coming up next on Sunrise, we continue our coverage on the reported disturbances at Mall St. Matthews over the weekend. Why police are now saying guesswork might have exaggerated the situation.